What are some general comments about SCU? Well, the first thing that I noticed about Santa Clara is that everyone is very friendly. This campus, and particularly the law students, are very amiable, and they're very helpful. Unlike some of the rumors that I read on the internet before I came on some message boards about competition in law school, Santa Clara is very good about that. Don't get me wrong, it still is a competitive environment, but at the same time, it's not like people are tearing pages out of the library books or not telling people how to do a particular thing or not helping each other out. I've noticed that even in my classes, if I miss one or two, many of my classmates are willing to give me their recorders or give me their notes so that I can catch up, and that's a very nice feeling. What are my take on study groups? In a few words, they just don't work for me. Study groups are good if you can find a group that's responsible and disciplined. But the problem is, as is with most study groups, is that once you start, they end up being social sessions. And you have to be able to find partners that are willing to really focus and hone in on the work, because law school is all about time management. I started off law school with a assigned study group, but because of varying schedule issues, it didn't work out. I then started different approaches, trying like maybe me with 2 or 3 people, and that worked out for a little bit, but then again, people want to do their own thing, and if you're disciplined or they're not, then it doesn't really work out. Ultimately, what ended up working better for me, or best, and what I do now, is I work with usually one person about half an hour or 40 minutes before class, just bounce around what the course is going to be about, and that seems to work out best because you're prepared and you're ready for the other side of things. What is my take on outlining? Outlining is an important thing because it really allows you to see the big picture of where the legal course is going. As a caveat though, you really have to make sure that you don't spend too much time on it. And my personal opinion is to practice. And by practice, I mean by writing out hypotheticals, answering short questions at the end of some of the supplements. I feel like that's better time spent. And if you do want to outline, I recommend that you start early, probably 3 or 4 weeks after the course is started.
What is the biggest myth about law school?
What is the biggest myth about law school? I think the biggest myth is that you have to become a hermit, and that's certainly not the case. As long as you're disciplined and you can schedule your day, I think everything can happen, and with a little bit of time to spare as well. I find myself having enough time to work out still, which is really important to me to relieve stress. But you won't have to give up your social life. It's just that you'll have to make priorities, and as long as you make law school one of them, you'll still be able to have time to do everything else. What's my take on first year? First year, the first week, everyone told me that this is the year that everyone's going to scare you, and that's completely true. From the workload to people's perceptions to talking to your peers, that's the one thing, you just keep getting scared. But first year really is just trying to learn the whole process and being a law student. Coming from engineering, it's a little bit different because learning legal information isn't as difficult as engineering concepts, where you have to worry about an electron moving from point A to point B, but it's very difficult in the fact that you're reading sometimes texts that are from the 1800s. Sometimes it's almost 100 pages a night, and it's just hard to keep up. But if you're disciplined, first year can be pretty okay. What's my typical daily schedule? First semester I was working, so the first few hours of the day in the morning I would be going to the office. After that, I would probably grab some lunch and then read a little bit, head to the gym, and then prep for class for about an hour or so. Go to classes, which are usually about 5 to around 8:30 at night, and then read again a little bit and update and edit whatever I took in class, and then restart that cycle the next day. How is life as a 1L different than my life as an undergrad? Well, in my undergrad, I was a double major in electrical engineering and engineering management. Life as a 1L is different in the sense that I have classes with all kinds of professionals, whereas in undergrad, almost everyone was my age. This has helped me in many ways because when you see the class demographic, you see people's experiences enlightening in the conversations and in the class discussions. Like I said before, it is different in an academic sense. It is difficult, and it was hard for me to learn to read so many pages quickly and efficiently and try to take home the message that I needed to take home in order to do well on my exams. But as you go along through it, you get better, and that's all you really got to do is persevere and be disciplined. What do I miss about undergrad the most, and what do I miss about it the least? Undergrad, I didn't really have to study super hard in order to do well. Compare that to law school, where if you let things slide 1 or 2 days, you'll be behind in lectures, and that'll have a snowball effect until the end of the semester. What do I miss about it the least? Well, now I'm really doing what I want to do. Besides the fact that that was the stepping stone in order to become an IP litigator, that's probably the main thing that I don't really miss about it. Why did I decide to attend Santa Clara University? Well, Santa Clara was probably the most prominent choice for me because it's in the hub of the Central Valley, and this is where innovation happens. And Santa Clara was the one school that was most congruent with my ambitions post-graduation, which is to get into intellectual property litigation or patent prosecution. So it seemed like the perfect choice, and it was ranked very high amongst other California schools.
You're going to make a list of what, 5 to